Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of the hosts this afternoon, Michael, followed by other host, Sage.
Hello.
Hot second there, my brain was like, cat. And
I know.
Like,
I was
nope.
like, you don't know my name? It's been a minute, guy.
Yeah, it really has. Who are you? Anyway, we have a topic. We have two topics at least.
Yeah.
Sage, for the first time, for some fucking reason, decided to watch Morbius.
Because I always say, I'm very firm on this stance. If I'm going to be a hater, I have to at least be educated.
Right, but why even bother watching Morbius?
Because I kept...
Why bother being an educated hater on Morbius?
I kept seeing all this talk about Morbius and how it's horrible and this, that, the other thing, right? And when things are like that dogged on online, I have to witness it for myself, you know?
Right.
So I think on Friday, I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, none of my, like... No TV show that I'm currently watching is like coming out right now, so I'll just watch this.
Right.
You know, filler. And here's my overall. It's definitely not good.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know that I could say that it's bad only because they didn't do a single thing the entire movie. So if nothing happened, how can I say that it's bad?
Because nothing happening and being boring is bad.
Like... And the movie just continue, like, things just happen. Like, Jared Leto and the female doctor out of nowhere are, like, in love with each other. And I was like, wait, what? Did they establish that they are in a relationship or attracted to each other? No.
Have you seen Jared Leto?
They
that
didn't.
Man is the
And then
hottest person.
Matt Smith, after he becomes a vampire, just decides to be evil for literally no reason. But then the movie just ends and there's no actual conclusion. And the fucking little kid Jared Leto put into a medically induced coma just disappears. We never see that bitch again. Also, the movie, in the beginning, when he's working on his, like, super serum, if you will, at first I was like, because they both say that it's, like, unethical what he's doing. So I'm like, oh, surely this is, like, a super secret lab that he's got going on. No, it's just in the hospital that he works at.
Right.
I was like, wait, what? It's not a secret lab? Anyone has access to this?
Yeah.
What a flawed design. Even when he's got the bats there, I was like, how the fuck did he get bats into here? Like, I don't think that's allowed.
Yeah, it's a hermetically sealed room.
Like, it was just insane. And then there's like, they're like Matt Smith's like personal caretaker. I don't know why he's been taking care of him for this long. Like, it's so weird. And then he's just very odd and shady and has money. And I'm like, okay, don't explain anything to me, movie. That's fine. Don't tell me one single thing. I also don't understand why Matt Smith would keep the nickname that Jared Leto gave them as kids, because the whole point of that nickname was it was a throwaway name, because he was like, yeah, you're probably going to die anyway, so I just call everyone Milo, because once you enter this bed, it's basically a death sentence, so why should I learn your actual name?
Because he was his only friend, so he answers to that.
Because then when he thinks he is gonna die, he then calls him Lucian, which is his actual name. So I was like, okay, flashback, nice. Like, he respects him as a human being and not just like a meat orifice. That's nice. But then he just calls him Milo the whole time, and so does everyone else. I'm like, wait, but the scene you just showed me established that he respects him as an individual person, but then you changed your mind. That makes no sense.
Wow, welcome to a Sony movie.
Like, it was just ridiculous. And I'm like, wait, what? And then the CG was like 2000s level ugly.
Welcome to a Sony
Spidey
movie.
Oh my god. I was like, why is this CG on Jared Leto's face too big for his face? Why does the CG look worse on your main lead character than on your villain? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I remember the like opening 30 minutes being like fine. Like the character interactions all seemed fairly fine. But like But it all kind of, the whole movie just kind of felt like one big act. Like there wasn't like like act 1 to 2
No, this
to
is
3.
not a 3-act structure.
Yeah, it just felt like
this
one
is all
thing.
act 1 prolonged, but like no act 2.
Yeah.
No act 3. No resolution. No conflict.
Yeah, and like that, it wasn't the absolute garbage fire everyone made it out to be, but like it's arguably just extremely forgettable, which is worse in my opinion.
I think my biggest problem is the movie says things and then actively says JK right after they establish something, and I'm like, wait, why are you breaking your own internal rules right after you establish them?
Because who needs internal rules, Sage?
I think truly pre Jared Leto being Morbius, the movie is fine. It's like perfectly middle of the road fine.
Yeah, like the first 30 minutes, it's just like...
Then he becomes Morbius, and you just feel the incredibly sharp decline in quality.
Right.
And I think it's so funny that they're like, okay, they didn't even go for like the basic movie structure of like, okay, here's our characters, here's what you need to know about them, right? Oh, okay, this is the main character's goal. Oh no, but this person wants to stop them for whatever reason. Conflict, right? They didn't even do that. Like the most simple plot structure. People just keep appearing on screen and saying things and then doing the opposite of what they just said.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand. And like, then you have Tyrese, who's this random ass detective. Why is he so suspicious of Michael Morbius? The man pre being like Vampire Bat was this hunched over, maybe 95-pound, could barely walk guy. But no, that guy for surezies, I have a suspicion that he went and murked 8 guys.
Didn't he?
I mean, yes, he did, but there's nothing to lead him to that suspicion,
Well,
except for that's what happens in the movie.
Well, yeah, but he's the only one that lived.
Like, it just makes no sense. And
I'm just
like,
saying, if you're the only one that lived, you're gonna be the suspect.
No, literally, they were like, oh, because I think they were in a shipping container, right? And he's like, oh, you've been doing some crazy experiments, and you've tried everything. But what about that means, oh, yeah, I went and killed all these guys? Because Martine lived too.
Yeah, because what's Martine gonna do?
I mean, I know, but still. But yeah, it's just completely ridiculous. And like, he doesn't, nobody has like a through line for their story. The detective is suspicious of Michael Morbius, and then he keeps being suspicious, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay. That's not how you write a character arc. There has to be an arc. You know, that's kind of the whole point. You can't just do a straight line.
Right.
Okay. And then it's just so weird. So at the beginning, when he's all like skinny and frail, nobody notices after he beefs up. There's literally no reaction post beefing up from anyone. And I'm like, would nobody notice that he suddenly like put on 60 pounds of pure muscle? Really, guys? Like, you're all fucking oblivious? And then he tries to like fake use the, what do you call it? Those like, they're not quite crutches, but they're like walking stilts, or, you know? I don't know what they're called. Arm crutches. Sure. He's like fake using the arm crutches, but I'm like, bro, your body looks completely different. Is no one going to mention this? I don't, even the cops, they're like, don't say anything. I'm like, what the fuck? It's not, and I could get it if this guy was like, you know, a basement dweller, never left his own lab or whatever. No, this man's in the news. He's on television. He's like a very famous, well-respected doctor. Yeah. I'm like, so you're telling me not one person is going to be like, hey, how come you filled out so much literally overnight? But yeah, overall, I think I just had a really frustrating experience because I kept waiting for things to make sense. And they kept not making sense. I think I would have preferred if every person in this cast was as ridiculous and hammy as Matt Smith post Vampire Bat.
Interesting.
Because I think Matt Smith is like, this movie is dog shit and I might as well have fun. I might as well just do the most.
Can I have a potential hot take?
Sure.
I used to think Matt Smith was like a fairly good looking dude.
He looks like a thumb.
I know. I no longer think that. I don't know what happened between like Doctor Who. Doctor Who.
Thumb. That's the answer. He was never attractive.
No, in Doctor Who he was fine. I don't know what happened since then, where like maybe his his forehead got more pronounced or something, but like, and he lost his eyebrows. But, like, I don't know. He like
lost his eyebrows.
Yeah, kinda. And it's just like,
maybe
I don't
he
know.
did.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think Matt Smith has always looked like a thumb, and I'm very sorry to Matt Smith. Like, I'm not trying to dog on him. He's a very talented actor, but he's always looked like a thumb, in my opinion. And I think when he's in like a beefier role where he has to be physically bulkier, he looks even more thumb-like. So maybe when in like a slimmer role, it's less thumb, you know? Like in Doctor Who, he wasn't like beefed up, you know?
I think it's just the fact he doesn't have eyebrows anymore. I don't know.
I don't know, 'cause
he
I feel
totally
like he
looks like
looks-
a fine person.
I feel like he looks good in House of the Dragon with like the super platinum hair.
I never saw House of the Dragon.
Oh.
I never had any desire
I think
to.
he looks better in that than other projects.
But yeah, I mean, anyway, Morbius is just whatever, dude.
It just was.
It's just so whatever.
It was just such an odd experience. And the fact that Sony is like, oh, let's put in a post-credit scene because this will surely get a sequel or team-up movie of some variety. Like, bitch, where? Wait, who? You know what it is? This movie went through like multiple steps to get made.
Mm-hmm.
And at each step, somebody was like, that's it. Check it off.
Yep.
Send it.
Sure was the case.
I'm like, did nobody... do you think for each scene they had a separate editor? And
yeah,
they were...
that's totally what happened.
I mean, that's what it feels like. Because all of the scenes are so disjointed. And, like, nothing makes sense. So every single scene must have had their own editor where they were like, okay, so we'll just change, like, you know, fix our color grading, blah, 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 CG, blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, they all submitted them. And somebody was like, okay, you guys put them in, like, scene number order. And they were like, yeah. And they were like, great. I'll just patch those files together into the one movie. Not watch it.
Right.
Because I believe in you guys.
Yeah.
And then we just send it out to theaters.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it feels like happened.
Uh-huh.
It's insanity. Also, I did think it was really the one, like, some things did make me chuckle. I don't think they were meant to. But after Jared Leto gets beefed up, because now he's beefed up, so they got to show off the six-pack.
Right.
So I was like, okay, so how are they going to show off the six-pack, right? I'm picturing a more natural scene in my brain. But no. Jared Leto's fully wearing a shirt and then fully takes the shirt off dramatically and then stands up and looks at himself in a reflection. He's like, wow, look at that six-pack.
To be fair, if I was the same as him prior to having six-pack.
I mean, I get it.
Gotta make it look hot for yourself.
It was just so unnatural. It was so funny, though.
But yeah, I also just fucking hate Jared Leto. So.
Yeah, I also think, like, everyone is kind of really boring and flat. And that's the other thing. Like, that's why I kind of wish everyone was on the same, like, over-the-top level of Matt Smith. Because everyone is just taking this movie way too fucking seriously. Like, be so for real right now.
Right.
Like, Jared Leto, you do not need to be doing all this. Tyrese,
well,
you can barely
Jared Leto
act.
is always going to be doing that because he's a method actor.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It is very annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morbius,
It's like a 1.5 out of 5.
I'd give it a 1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. All right.
Do not recommend unless you're like me and you feel you have to be educated to hate on something.
But like,
But if you don't care, don't watch it.
yeah, like just you don't even need to. It's not worth it.
It was unbelievably, like, I didn't even feel disappointed because I guess I went in with no expectations.
I would hope so.
But I think I just felt so empty that I was like, wow, that's an hour and a half I will literally never get back.
Yep.
Like, I'm just wasting my life away.
Mm-hmm.
And for what?
Nothing.
Mediocrity.
Yeah. Well,
Tell me about Harry Potter.
so in my endeavors of watching a lot of movies this year, I've just been going through franchises. I don't remember if I said earlier or not, but I was going through all the Star Wars movies.
No, you didn't say that.
Okay. Well, I meant like in general, like on a different episode. But then I was like, all right, I need a franchise with a good amount of movies, so I went with Harry Potter, which I was like, yeah, that's 8 movies. And then I remember the Fantastic Beasts exist because I never saw any of them, and I was like, all right, well, that's 3 more movies, I guess. And besides the nonsensical rules that J.K. Rowling writes in her for the Wizard World that make no real sense and that are also actively contradicted upon, they're fun movies for the most part. I think basically all of them are enjoyable. In Harry Potter, we're keeping Fantastic Beasts separate for a second. Are all pretty enjoyable except for Half-Blood Prince. I think Half-Blood Prince is the worst one. Mostly because and I mean, he's gone on record of talking about it, but like Daniel Radcliffe's performance in that movie is not great. And he has reasons. I understand. He's dealing with problems.
Right.
But yeah, that movie just not all that great. It's like still fine, but it's the worst one. I think out of all of them, yeah, it's the lowest I rated, which was still 3.5 out of 5. So like it's not bad, but it's not one I would want to go back to out of any of them. So my rankings for them, just to put that out there, is number 1, Prisoner of Azkaban, then Chamber of Secrets, then Deathly Hallows Part 2, Goblet of Fire, Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, whatever you want to call it, Deathly Hallows Part 1, Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince. And then included within that is Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them, Crimes of Grindelwald, and then Secrets of Dumbledore, or whatever the fuck, where it just each one gets progressively worse than the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all pretty fun though. Like, I remembered a lot more about Sorcerer's Stone than I thought I would. Like,
Yeah.
I was watching that movie and I remembered lines and scenes and like all the. Those kids were fucking adorable.
Like, one thing I will say, especially
They really lucked out with getting a bunch of kids that aged really well into themselves.
Yeah. Oh my god. I always think
They were
about
cute as children and very, very nice looking as adults too.
I always think about that because I'm like, do you think that's just like a luck of the draw thing of like when you're casting like especially child actors for a major franchise where they're like, please don't be ugly. Please don't be ugly.
I was reading trivia for all of the movies as I was watching them, and after Christopher Columbus left, which was after the first 2,
yeah.
He's gone on record multiple times being like, can't believe how well all these kids aged into himself. Like, because usually they either don't or they get really bad at acting and just don't want it. And he was like, we got really lucky that everybody worked out.
And you know what? I appreciate that.
Neville got attractive. Even Dudley, they put on fat suit on him so he doesn't look like he did. But the actor himself lost a lot of weight and looks great.
Yeah. I think it also helps that like all the kids, you know, in the first couple of movies, because they're so young. Yeah,
like the first 2, they look like children.
They
and
are.
Then you watch the third, and they're like, oh, these are like
I know.
teenagers now.
I know. It's so.
It's always like a big jump, and then it's like incremental.
I always have that whiplash of like coming off of 1 and 2, and then you watch Prisoner of Azkaban, and you're like, why are they adults now?
And yet they're like, and it's
probably like 14 or 15.
And it's literally
when they filmed it.
Yeah, it's 2002 to 2004 is the time difference.
Yeah.
And immediately they
what was the first movie? 2001.
Yeah, in the yeah, it was 2001, 2002, and then 2004.
Puberty
and
really hit them.
Literally, in some of the trivia for Prisoner of Azkaban, it's like the three looked just like they did in Chamber of Secrets and Sorcerer's Stone at the beginning of filming. And then by the time that they were at the end, they looked so different. They had to go back and shoot some of the scenes because they just looked so different.
Because they're probably like, if you watch the movie, imagine they like left that in, you'd be like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
But to be fair, the movies do all take place over the course of a year. So like,
that's true. But like, even in that context, like, I think it would be weird.
Yeah, just because you were watching it within 2 hours.
Within a movie
Yeah.
for like you to notice, because it's a big change.
Yeah.
Between Prisoner of Azkaban and like Sorcerer's Stone or Chamber of Secrets, and you're just like, wait, what is going on?
Yeah, but they all aged so well into themselves. I had a huge crush on Emma Stone as a kid too.
Who
so
didn't?
like nostalgically, you're like, dang. And then you once she gets older and
She was
she's
cute
actually
as a button as a kid, and then she just turned into such a beautiful
which
woman.
is so funny because there's been the actors have gone on record of like during interviews where they're talking about Goblet of Fire during like Hermione's like Cinderella moment on the stairs.
I always, because she's supposed to be like ugly in the books,
and the actors have been like, I always thought that was kind of stupid because it's not like she wasn't pretty before. She looks the exact same when she's
just
all
in a dress.
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, she looks just as attractive as she does before.
Yeah,
but
supposedly in the book she has like really bad teeth.
Yeah, and her hair is supposed to be like
way worse.
Massive, yeah.
Way worse.
Her hair is supposed to be like super just
untamable.
Like
frizzy. First movie levels of big hair.
Yeah, and then she's supposed to have buck teeth, which apparently they were going to do, but the prosthetics just looked bad, and they were like, "Fuck it, whatever." Like in the first movie, they were gonna do that, and something else with Harry. Oh, eye contacts, because his eyes are green, I think, in the books. But Daniel Radcliffe was apparently super susceptible to eye contacts, like colored lenses and stuff. So they were like, "All right, fuck it, whatever." So they just didn't do that either.
Gotcha.
That's why it's like certain things just changed because they were like, it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
So they scrapped it.
But like I was trying to say about the actors, because it all works out in that like when they had the kids as kids, they were all, I would say, pretty good for child actors.
Honestly, yeah.
Like, I think in terms
of the kids, like background,
kids,
supplementary kids are like,
yeah, like their classmates and stuff, not that great, but they don't have to be.
Yeah,
but
they all get better.
For 10-year-olds, like they all knock it out of the park, and then as they get older, because it like the guy was saying, like they could have all gotten worse over time.
Yeah,
but they all just like honed in on their craft and got better and better throughout their movies.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know, it was a really fun experience. And if anything, I realized that, man, like it's funny, these movies made me realize that I really got shitty teachers. It's like, yeah, I know these teachers are teaching magic at a made-up school, but like, damn, dude, I wish some of my teachers were as fun as these teachers. Like,
these teachers be putting these 10-year-olds in harm's way every single day.
Yeah, well, like, first of all, Hogwarts, death trap, and it's so funny to me when the troll in the first movie, they're like, they're gonna shut us down, like we have a troll, and I'm like, everything else that's going on here, your regular
you're like,
classroom,
everything else that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Like, every other, like your regular ass classroom things could kill a kid, and this is what's gonna get you shut down? Like, bullshit. Like every single year you have some massive thing going on, you're like, we're gonna get shut down. It's like, you didn't get shut down from any of the other events. Why is this gonna be different?
Yeah, what about this specifically is over the line for you?
Every parent that's gone to Hogwarts has been like, oh yeah, and then there was this kid that like fucking went near the Whomping Willow tree and got fucking yeeted across the goddamn campus, and you're like, anyway, if that happens now, we're canceling school. Like, everyone has a fucking death story.
It's just insanity. And I also always found it funny. I'm like,
but all the teachers are great. There are some genuinely good teachers.
Yeah.
Remus Lupin. I would have fucking loved to have a teacher like that in school.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I always think it's so funny, like when you watch them, because I know, like, I would say between movies like 1 through 4, I don't know why, randomly 1 through 5 I have like a lot of nostalgia for. And maybe it's because I didn't see the other ones in theaters.
I don't even know if I saw any of them in. I don't think I did.
I can't remember, but I don't know why, but like 6 through 8 I feel like I have no nostalgia for. Like I don't even care about them. Which is, I don't know why. But 1 through 5 I'm like obsessed with, and especially 1 and 2 I just get such a like warm fuzzy feeling whenever I watch them. I always watch them at Christmas.
Yeah.
Because they're just perfect, cute little movies.
The biggest shame out of all these movies is that each movie gets subsequently darker, and I don't mean in tone, which is true, but in visually, like each movie,
I noticed that too.
They desaturate more and more and more until you get to the fucking like Half-Blood Prince and
it's like
hell,
black
Order
and
of
white.
Phoenix. It's all just like black and white and blue tinted, and you're like, why? Like it just each movie gets darker and darker, and it just is so like it's just. It sucks. Like, you know, like I get you're telling a darker story, but that doesn't mean you have to make it fucking look ugly.
But I do think that like blue grayscale tint that was especially in Half-Blood Prince, where I think it's the worst offender there.
Oh, absolutely.
That was weirdly trendy
I know,
at the time for
but
movies.
Like, I don't know. It's just.
But I do get what you say.
It feels just because it's a dark tone does not mean the movie needs to look devoid of color.
Yeah. And they do it with their clothes too. Everyone is wearing such like muted color palettes.
Yeah. But like, and there's other things because it's like each movie got a different director minus the first 2 and the last 3.
Who did the last 3? I don't remember.
Right, because David Yates did the last 4.
Oh, David Yates, yeah.
Yeah, he did the last 4. So
yeah.
So Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire. Oh, yeah. So those 2 have different directors.
Yeah.
And then first 2 have Christopher Columbus, and the last 4 have David Yates.
Yeah.
But, like, you could tell the difference in director styles because when you watch Alfonso Cuarón, I don't know how to say his name, but from Prisoner of Azkaban, like, the reason why that one feels, like, so nice is because he was like, everybody can be way more free on what they're doing. It needs to just, as long as you think it's in line with the character. There's a famous story where when he first came onto the project, he wanted to know more about the characters,
right?
And so he asked the main 3 to give him an essay on their characters, and Emma Watson wrote like a 12-page paper.
I believe it.
Like Hermione would.
She's an IRL nerd though.
Daniel Radcliffe gave Daniel Radcliffe gave
his less popular brother
a 1-page summary.
I believe it.
And
Rupert
Grint gave nothing.
1 sentence.
No, he didn't do anything because he believed Ron wouldn't. And it's like, yeah, that's fair. And so then that's why also everyone has like different styles of clothes because he gave everyone the school uniform and then went, style yourself how you think your character
yeah
would.
Much more lax.
Yeah, which is why like Hermione still has kind of all of her like all the stuff like put together. Ron's just fucking like disheveled. And Harry's got like the tie still on but the shirt's only half tucked in. Like, so that's why like to me Prisoner of Azkaban feels so like lived in because it feels much more natural.
But I'm only going to cut you off because I do think in that turn of like it feels more natural because Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets, when they are first and second years, I feel like it does make sense that they would want to be hyper buttoned up.
I mean, yeah, sure.
And then once they're going through that like beginning stages of puberty of like I'm too cool for school kind of vibe. Yeah. I think like that change is very natural, but I do agree it's much more lived in.
Because then after Prisoner of Azkaban, it's kind of they're all living in their regular clothes for the most part.
I always noticed that and it kind of bothered me because I'm like, wait.
They spend more time in their regular clothes than their school clothes.
Why? Like, you guys are still technically in school. You should at least be wearing some sort of uniform.
Yeah.
And I think, which one does it have it the worst, where I feel like they're in regular clothes way too long? Maybe Order of the Phoenix?
They're pretty much always in, because they're not really in the school anymore.
Like,
well, I mean, they are. Because that's when he makes Dumbledore's army, right?
Which is the one where they have to sneak into the Ministry? Is that Order of the Phoenix? Yeah.
That's when they go to find the prophecy.
Yeah, but I'm like, why are you guys should wear uniforms? You're in school.
Well, but not when they're
I
getting
know,
into
but
that.
I just feel like that movie in particular, they never wear uniforms.
And to be fair, Prisoner of Azkaban also does it. Especially during the time travel bits.
Yeah.
Fucking Hermione just decks Draco, which brings to another point that I think is really funny. That Draco, throughout the movies, he does stop mostly because he starts becoming more involved in something else than with the group. Mm-hmm. So then he stops trying to, but he keeps trying to like bully the group, right?
Yeah. He's like the weakest bully in the world.
Because literally at some point you have to like mostly it's on Harry's group for not doing this, but like they have been the cause of him crying or being like scared like multiple times, and then he tries to be like fucking Potter, and you're like,
I'm a big bad man.
Yeah, and you're like, you fucking mudblood, and you're like, bro, I just made you cry like last week. What are you talking?
What
Get
are
outta
you
here.
on, my
Like,
guy?
The amount of times that they freak this dude out and he bails because he's scared, or he starts wincing because he's like afraid or whatever, or he's actively crying, and you're like, at some point you can no longer bully the people you're bullying if they have made you cry more often.
And I also think it's funny is like it's always like he wants to look down on them because he's a pureblood and he thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah.
But also, like, Malfoy literally has zero leverage. That's why he has his two cronies. But his cronies are so incompetent to the point where they're...
Goyle.
Yeah, to the point where, like, they're not even helpful.
Well, fucking Goyle gets himself killed in Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah.
With, by the way, a spell that feels like it was way too strong for him to have ever been able to cast. But I guess he does, like, throw his wand away because he couldn't control it. So, I mean, whatever. But also, that's another thing with these movies is that...
The inconsistent magic rules?
Well, yeah. But, like, also, you have, because of how inconsistent the magic rules are, you have no scale for how powerful things are. So, like, the coolest fight in Harry Potter is when Dumbledore goes up against Voldemort in
Order of the Phoenix. Yeah, that's a great fight.
It's the best fight in the movies. But you have no idea how hard these things are because you know that gun exists. Like, fucking Avada.
Like the death curse? Yeah.
You know that gun exists.
Right.
So why wouldn't you always be using gun? Like,
okay, I actually...
And here you are, like, making a fire snake, and you're like, okay, but is that really dangerous? I don't know.
Okay, so I actually looked this up one time because I agree that you can't get a good sense of how powerful somebody is versus somebody else.
Right.
Because of the overall inconsistency within
because that fight's cool, but I'm like, I don't know how hard any of this stuff you're doing is.
In the rules, and supposedly to cast the killing curse or any of, like, the 3 unforgivable curses, you have to, like, 1, be a powerful wizard or witch, whatever that means.
Right.
But also, when you're doing it, like, you have to really mean it. You gotta be like, I want this bitch dead now.
Yeah, but like, if you're Voldemort, you'd want Dumbledore dead right now, so you wouldn't just be fucking like gun. You know, like.
But I feel like Voldemort. No, not Voldemort. I feel like
Bellatrix Lestrange throws that shit around like it's fucking hotcakes.
But maybe Voldemort. I feel like Voldemort's more like showboaty though.
I don't know.
Bellatrix, she just wants to murder everyone. But Voldemort, like, he could murder everyone, but he wants people to, like, witness his awesomeness,
Yeah. But, like, I don't know. There's so many things that happen
the fear.
that you're like, you have no idea how strong things are. Mm-hmm. So you're just like, because it doesn't Harry use, like, Expelliarmus or something against Voldemort's gun during Goblet of Fire? Or he might not use Expelliarmus, but he doesn't use like a big spell.
But you can,
and they're clashing, and you're like.
But can't you use like a deflection spell?
But he doesn't deflect. He like it's a beam struggle.
Oh, the beam. Oh, okay.
And it's like a regular spell versus super bad killing curse, and you're like,
okay, the beam. That's a problem in Goblet of Fire and Deathly Hallows Part 2, where it's just a laser beam fight.
And you're like, what does this mean? What decides the winner here? And
I'm like, okay, I get that Voldemort is winning because Harry's beam is getting shorter.
Right.
But like,
why?
Yeah,
and how is this a super strong curse not instantly beating random magic spell that he chose to use.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just those things where it's like, and I'm sure there's explanations or something, or fucking J.K. Rowling went out and like
Tweeted
she did with,
some retconny
bullshit later on. And we don't support her.
Yeah, we are anti J.K.
We
Rowling.
do not support TERFs. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we don't like J.K. Rowling, but unfortunately, she just happened to just create Harry Potter. That's not our fault. Please forgive us.
And a side thing to this all too is I have Peacock through whatever. All these movies were on Peacock, at least in the time of filming this. And for whatever the fuck reason, Peacock used the TV edits for the movies, where it's like the fade to black where a commercial would go and then fade back in, which made all of the editing for these movies seem atrocious.
That's because in a movie there's not ad breaks like a television show, so it's super unnatural when they do it.
Yeah, and so like every time I'm like I haven't seen these movies. The last Harry Potter movie I ever saw was Deathly Hallows Part 2 sometime around when it came out, because I don't think I saw it in theaters. I bought it later on in life.
Oh, like DVD or something?
So but probably 2011, 2012, because it came out in 2011. So like around there was the last time I saw a Harry Potter movie. And I was like, do I just not remember? Is this how the movie's edited? And I was like, there's no way though. It feels like it. And so like, and
like, this is so bizarre.
And so like, it makes the movies feel like they are like edited horribly. It makes it feel like it's jumping to a random scene where like, technically that is how the edit is, but like it amplifies that, so it makes it feel much weirder. And there's also in a slightly not a Peacock's fault vein of well, actually they also only have the extended editions that you can watch, and it is so clear for so many movies when you're watching an extended edition, because then all of a sudden, random scene that feels so out of place, and you're like, this totally wasn't in the movie, was it?
Yeah.
I could see why it probably wasn't in the movie, because it's fucking random and odd.
Yeah.
But there were moments though within each movie that I felt like scenes ended with like where there was still felt like there was much more to say. You know,
like, in all of the movies, or in like something
not in
specific?
All of them, but some of them, where it's just like, you know, somebody says something, they have a retort, and then like they come back with a thing, and it's like you feel like they would have a response to this statement,
gotcha.
But then just
moves on.
You're like,
transition.
Yeah, it feels like there would have been more conversation about what's coming out. I noticed it a little more in Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, where it feels like they would say stuff about their journey, and it just feels like there was more of a conversation to be had than what was.
I do feel like with Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, which are actually, I would say,
one of the only good times of a Part 1 and 2 being used, I think.
My least favorite of the bunch.
I think Part 2 was actually really good.
I like Part 2 for the finality of it all. But Part 1...
Although Harry's kids' names are
fucking horrible. Yo,
doesn't even let his wife get George in there somewhere for her dead brother.
If I was Harry's kid, I would fucking smack him in the face.
Like James Sirius, fine. Whatever. I get you want to name... Like, I get wanting to use your parents' names. I get it. So it's still a bit strange. But
James Jr., I get.
Right.
Like, that's fine.
Albus Severus.
Horrible.
Like, bro,
horrible.
First of all, you idolized Remus Lupin way more than Severus. And I get you found out that Severus was doing all the stuff in the background.
Yeah.
But don't act like you gave a shit about him before. You thought he was evil until the last moment.
Harry was like,
he let him die.
I will kill this man. And then afterwards, he's like, oh, no, I love and respect him.
Yeah, he was like, I named you after the two greatest headmasters of Hogwarts.
Yo,
like,
get the fuck out of here.
Even if you do even if you have come to realize that Snape was good, he was not a good headmaster at all.
No.
And sure, you could argue he was bad because he was actively doing things to protect the kids. And
he was
so
playing
he had
both sides.
Yeah,
but
so he had to make the school more of like a military school, because otherwise they'd all probably die from a Death Eater.
Yeah.
But still.
No, absolutely. But also, Albus Severus, You just know this kid is getting fucking beat up.
Yeah.
Like, they're stealing his lunch money,
And,
all right?
And again, doesn't even get to name fucking Ginny doesn't even get to name.
Ginny gets literally
doesn't get
squat.
a George in there, which maybe Ron named their kid George, but like still,
Yeah.
like Jesus Christ.
It's just horrible.
Oh no, if you have a point.
I was gonna say something, but post kids' names, I forgot what it was.
You were saying that you liked it for the finality.
Oh yes. Sorry. Yeah, part 2, I do enjoy it for like the finality of everything. I do think like the ending battle is good moments. I like it. My main problem, I think, with part 1 is I feel like so little happens, and like I get it, they're splitting a book into 2 full feature-length movies,
Which, I mean, for how much stuff is put into 1 and 2, it feels justified.
I think I would agree. This is the only one out of this trend of part 2 two-parter finales.
Especially with like books, like the fucking Hunger Games, Divergence, Maze Runner.
When I tell you, Mockingjay is the shortest of the 3 books, and by no means had to be 2 movies.
Which is funny because
make it a slightly longer single movie.
The longest book in the Harry Potter franchise is one of the shortest movies, and the shortest book is one of the longest movies.
Like, it's just, it doesn't make sense.
Which I think is kind of funny though.
Like, it drives me insane. Like Twilight, that did not need to be a 2-parter situation.
But I will say, what I like about the Deathly Hallows movies, and 1 in particular because it spent so much time doing it, is the dynamic between the 3. Like, they feel like genuine friends that have been doing this shit forever.
But
and are just kind of tired of it.
They already were that.
No,
you didn't need part 1.
It's now like forced upon them to like be roaming the fucking countryside.
To be isolated more,
that,
you
like,
mean?
Yeah, and the small moments like, when the Horcrux is like affecting Ron, so he leaves for a bit, and it's just Hermione and Harry.
Yeah.
And like their dance where he's just trying to cheer her up.
Yo,
and they have that like one moment where they're like, maybe no. But which brings me to my point of, I always, again, because I hadn't seen the movie since I was a child,
right,
always was like, I feel like Harry should have ended up with Hermione. Like, it feels weird that wasn't the case. But rewatching these movies, I'm like, oh no, there's totally like, he's never been into Hermione.
No,
not once. Not even, like the little bit he's into Hermione is right after that dance, and I think it's just because they're both really lonely and have been doing all this shit alone for months.
He's like, this is another human person.
Yeah.
This is nice.
But like before that, like it's even brought up in one of the movies where Dumbledore's like, I've noticed you spend a lot of time with Hermione.
Miss Granger,
He's
like, what are you talking about?
No, like she's brilliant but she's a friend, just a friend. Like, and like and you see like the little bits of Ron and Hermione slowly becoming more into him, and like Ron just being fucking oblivious and stupid. And it's like, I get now why I always thought Harry and Hermione were a thing, because I was Ron. I was like, there is no signals here. What is a signal? There's no such thing. Like,
you have blinders on.
Yeah. And so like it's funny that I was like, I watching these movies, I was like, oh no, I totally get why people are like, no, that's a weird thing. Like it was never gonna be them. Like, I get it now. And I do see like the Ginny and Harry now, because she has small moments through each movie after he saves her,
right?
Where like she's in the background of Order of the Phoenix, and like she's like the last to leave. She's like stands back to wait for him, and then realizes he's going over to Cho.
Yeah,
and he's like, and just like turns and walks away.
I saw this funny thing about Harry and Ginny, and somebody was like, yo, I don't know how the fuck Harry bagged anyone, let alone Ginny. She is way too good for him.
Honestly, the fucking apparently the Weasleys all got game.
All of them got game.
Ginny's got Harry, fucking Ron got Hermione, who is Hermione, the best pull.
Wait, the brother gets with like the girl from the French Wizard Academy.
Yeah, the oldest brother gets with Fleur.
Yes. What was his name? I can't remember. The one that's not a fucking narc and doesn't work for the Ministry.
Right. So
Percy.
Yeah,
is the narc one.
Yeah, so when did that? I know in the books that apparently happened because I was reading trivia, but I didn't think he showed up in the movie after like the third.
So
fourth.
Percy is only and I don't even know that we get him by name. Maybe we do in the first movie, but I think Percy, who's also in school at the same time as the twins and Ron.
Yeah, because he's the original prefect.
Yeah, so he I think is only in the
Bill,
yes, he's the one that gets with LaFleur.
Yeah.
But Bill is like a dragon tamer, and of course,
yeah,
I want to be with a dragon tamer. Come on now. But yeah, so Percy, he's I think only in the first 2 movies, and then we literally never see Percy again. But that's fine because he's such a piece of shit.
Which sucks because in the first 2 movies, he's a pretty cool dude.
In the books, he is so fucking unbearably annoying, and I'm like, bruh, just realize you are on the wrong side of history here and calm down.
Yeah, because I when I was reading the trivia, it brings up that Percy joined the Ministry, and so like the Weasleys were like had him on the outs. But like, so what is he joining the Ministry for? Like, what was he on the side of? Like against whatever that they're like.
Okay,
fuck you.
so when he's a part of the Ministry, because it's like
is he siding with them when they're bashing Harry?
Yeah, it's that whole campaign of like, oh, Harry's a liar, like
Voldemort's
the Dark
not
Lord
back.
is not back, everything is fine. So they're bashing Harry, but then they also start bashing Dumbledore and Hogwarts,
Right.
and he's on their side for all of that. And then the Weasley family is like, the fuck? That's not how we raised you. What are you doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's dating like someone Clearwater or something.
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, because in the books, apparently she's more of a character, but she's mentioned twice in the movies. Once by Headless Nick, because Percy's walking down the hall,
Right.
and he mentions her by name.
I don't remember this at all.
And they're holding hands, and then you only see the back of her head.
Right.
And then its second time is when the I don't remember what they're called, but the people that are like in Deathly Hallows that are going out and finding the wizards to like check if they're pure blood or not. Mm-hmm. Those guys, when they catch Hermione and Harry and Ron.
Oh, like the bounty hunter guys?
Yeah, she uses Percy's girlfriend's name instead of her own.
Gotcha.
So there's that. But yeah,
Wait, so Hermione?
Because Hermione's not a pureblood. So
I know, but she's the only non-pure blood?
No, Harry's not. Harry's not either, technically.
Because his mom isn't.
But yeah, because his mom was a witch, but his mom was not a pureblood.
Right, but Harry's dad, I think, is.
I don't know if we know if, but well, actually probably, but we know his mom was one of those people that was born to a non-wizard family, like Hermione.
Right.
I think that's true. Where,
yeah,
like,
because the sister, who's the aunt.
Yeah.
And their parents are non-wizards.
Yeah, yeah. So she's like Hermione, non-wizard family. Which, by the way, I would like to state, with how much it seems like the wizard world doesn't understand Muggles. Really, best case scenario is ending up like a wizard like Hermione, where you get both the wizard world and the human world. So you're not a fucking idiot when you're walking around London being like, what the fuck is...
Yeah,
what is that? Is that what is that thing that's moving? And like, it's a car?
Because I always think about this because Ron seems very well adjusted to human life,
which is like,
or
thanks
rather
to his dad,
non-wizard life,
which is thanks to his dad, because his dad is with
is
Muggle relations, but his dad's an
but
idiot
he's
too.
Completely clueless.
Yeah.
He's constantly asking Harry, like, "Oh, I saw this out on the street, but I don't know what it means or does."
Yeah, and like apparently there's like a whole thing with Hermione's parents being like dentists.
Yes,
or something,
they're very bland,
and like that. Yeah, but
which is funny because in the book she uses magic to fix her teeth, and I'm like, girl, your parents are dentists. Like, you could just get that shit done for free.
Yeah,
and right.
But does the magic do it wrong?
No.
Okay, well then it happened instantaneously instead of years.
But I'm just like, but the one character where her parents are dentists.
I mean, yeah, but like if you didn't have to wear braces for years,
if you're 14, yeah, I guess.
If I'm 14 and it's like braces for 2 years or instant fix. Well, yeah, sure, my parents are dentists, but I can get it fixed for free instantaneously. Like,
I just always made me laugh that I'm like the one character who her parents are dentists. She just does with her teeth herself.
Right. But yeah, And then like so some muggles do know about wizard worlds, obviously.
Yeah,
because her parents were in Diagon Alley with her buying books.
So I think if you have a wizard child or like one parent is a wizard, then yeah, you're going to know. And the Prime Minister of London, like all like the major heads of like a government's head figure also knows about them. Because I don't think they ever mentioned this in the movies, but in the books, each new minister of magic, every time there's a new one, you have to go and talk with whoever is like the head of that country and be like, hey, I'm the new minister of magic. Or if something like major is happening within the wizarding world, you are obligated to tell them about it.
Yeah, because that does come up in newspaper clippings where it's like Prime Minister has been notified.
Yeah.
So but I just think it's odd that like it seems like there's no way people wouldn't have found out about the magic world at some point if like with how many the half-breeds there are. Also, are wizards actually like a different species or like side shoot or like is that ever explained? Are they like different somehow?
From my understanding, I have never, at least from what I've grasped from the books, I've not actually looked this up, but it doesn't seem like I imagine it always is like a genetic thing, right? Where
so it's like being like having the X gene.
Exactly. So that's how I always imagined it. It's not that you're not a human, because you are.
Well, I was thinking like human offshoot where it's like, you know, Homo sapien versus Homo magi.
No, I don't think it's an
that's
offshoot.
totally from something. I don't remember what that's from.
I don't think it's an offshoot. I think it's just you either have that genetic mutation or you don't.
Gotcha.
It's like quirks in
so
My Hero. You know what I mean?
It's just like you just kind of get it.
Yeah.
But it's not something that comes about without something being active. Because like because I think I read somewhere where it's like, yeah, you can have two muggle parents that has a wizard, but at some point there was a wizard in their past.
Yes.
It doesn't just like appear out of
it has to be within your bloodline's lineage.
Right.
Like so I imagine it would be considered a recessive gene.
Right.
So, but if both your parents are wizards, you being a wizard is pretty much guaranteed because then it becomes
unless you're Filch and you're a squib.
Yeah, a squib. Which the old lady that like watches over Harry in Muggle World.
Oh yeah,
she's a squib too.
Yeah, that shows up and in like the rain gear.
Yeah,
and she sees him banish the Dementors.
I think that's in the 5th movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's a squib too.
Which is funny because they're like, you performed magic in front of a Muggle, and I was like, it was his brother. His brother already, or adopted brother. He already cousin. He already knows that he could do magic. That is them being nitpicky about it entirely because they're trying to get him out
exactly.
of it.
They're just doing it to be annoying.
Right. But I always thought that was funny because as a kid I didn't understand that. And
you were like, I don't get politics. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, he's done magic in front of those fucking people before. Magic's happened from the wizard world to them before.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when all the fucking letters are coming out of everywhere.
Yeah.
Or Hagrid fucking kicks in the goddamn door and is like, anyway.
I understand what you're saying though.
But yeah. Oh fuck. Anyway, yeah, Harry Potter movies, all pretty fun. Don't really like Half-Blood Prince. Fantastic Beasts movies start off at like okay at best and then get worse each time.
I think the first movie is overall cute enough where I can like turn my brain off and just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, like wacky adventures.
Like
and like
Newt's fun.
Like look at my little funny looking pets, you know? Like all of that, great, love it.
Yep.
I don't really care about like the overarching plot of the movie because I'm like, this literally does not, I don't care at all. But then you get into movie 2 and instead of it being like continuation of like wacky hijinks and like magical creature adventures, it's like, no.
Political, like Nazi-esque subplots.
Yeah.
With a sprinkle of magic creature fun times.
But it's not even just that. It's like, okay, so we're having like a Nazi-esque political uprising as one plot beat.
Yep.
But then we have characters trying to find other characters to kill them, to avenge them. And then we have another character who's like basically a bomb. And like, what? And then like, oh, you did magic illegally and now we're gonna come and find and arrest you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is there 16 plots in one movie?
Yeah, like the second one has way too many plots, and then the third is just boring. It's just trying to answer so many like questions that came up prior instead of actually focusing on an interesting story like that involves Newt. It just feels like Newt's there. And
the same is true in the second movie.
Yeah, it feels like Newt is more of a MacGuffin than a character.
He's just there.
And also each version of Grindelwald gets worse.
I also don't like. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say I don't like Jude Law as Dumbledore.
I like him for one specific reason, and it's when he's teaching the Defense Against the Dark Arts. I'm like, that's a teacher I would want. He seems like such a fun teacher.
He seems like a fun teacher. I just don't like him when he's when he's doing literally anything else. Because him as Dumbledore...
Also, Dumbledore was supposed to be the fucking head wizard of wizards. And he's like, please no, somebody else. And you're like, all right, dude. Like,
I don't know. Something about the delivery. He is so standoffish.
I think it's just...
all three movies.
I'm almost okay with it, though, because it feels like he's that before he
gets
doesn't, his tact of old age.
I don't know, because I feel like in OG series, Dumbledore feels like he's this 1,000-year-old, like, knows everything being.
Only sometimes, though. When Michael Gambon takes over Dumbledore and he's like, Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Like, he comes off kind of like, yes, 1,000-year-old knows everything, but also doesn't know shit.
In that movie, I agree. But if Michael Gambon, his performances in 5 and 6 and in that, like, purgatory death scene... I think
is this all in my head or is this real? Of course it's in your head, Harry.
Yeah.
You're dying.
But like, I think his performances there work.
Yeah.
And he really feels like...
Did you put your name in the goblet of fire? One of my favorite things is TikTok where it's like, where it's Dumbledore in the book. Harry,
he asked
did you put your
quietly,
name in
calmly.
the goblet of fire? Dumbledore in the movies. Harry, did you put? It's like a visual of like somebody of Lego Dumbledore running over to Harry, picking up and like suplexing him into the ground.
There's a great one where it's a guy doing it in like a cheap like Dumbledore costume, and it's him just full on charging at somebody. But yeah, I think Jude Law's Dumbledore, for me at least, there's just because the difference is I feel like there's no warmth with him.
Yeah.
So like old Dumbledore, yes, he like knows everything, right? He knows the secrets of the universe, but he's so kind and he's so caring to the kids, you know,
right.
Even post, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? You know what I mean? Like, he just has this tenderness to him that I feel like Jude Law's Dumbledore doesn't have.
But I think that could be a thing that he gained in old age.
Over time, you think?
Yeah. I mean, the movie, they're like 50 years apart. He could gain some old age wisdom within that time.
I know, but it's just...
And then I also think that, like, each Grindelwald gets worse.
I agree.
Colin Farrell, top tier. Johnny Depp, I have no problems with Johnny Depp. He gives a very uninspiring performance. And then Mads Mikkelsen, also solid actor, gives an even more uninspired performance. It is just so reserved that it's basically nothing, and it feels like half-hearted. And it's just like, so that doesn't help either movie at all. And then you also have fucking Ezra Miller, who just, I fucking hate Ezra Miller.
But I love how in the second one, Ezra Miller, like, his self-time bomb explodes, and then in the third one, they're like, oh no, like, he just made it out of that self-bomb explosion. A-okay, no problem here.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's he also just keeps getting fucking told around, oh, you're a Lestrange, oh, you're a
my
thing,
God.
oh, you're a thing, oh, and he just keeps getting dragged around. You're like, either give this dude some agency or make him like, and it doesn't help that Ezra Miller's giving such an one-note performance that it's like, so it just makes this dude feel like he's just the stupidest person.
Yeah. I also was continuously annoyed with the, like, Jacob and Queenie shenanigans. Like, I thought they were cute together in the first movie, and then in the second movie where she's like, oh no, I will join you, Voldemort 2.0.
Yep. She gets really annoying in the next
And then in the
each subsequent one.
And then in the third movie, girl is just kind of there.
And,
although I will say I do really like the like super white platinum hair she had in the third movie.
Yeah.
That was a look.
But I think it's like, why did they fucking give Jacob a wand? It didn't do anything. It didn't stand for anything.
I guess so he could blend in, so people didn't know he was a Muggle. Also,
but they did immediately anyway.
I think it's really funny that Newt's brother is in all three movies, and in all three movies he does literally nothing.
Nope. He's supposed to be the head Auror of Britain, and he does
literally not one single thing.
And like, there's just, I don't know. There's the whole thing with the Tina isn't even in the third movie, really. His love interest.
So supposedly there was drama about this because supposedly she was supposed to be in the movie, but then there was some kind of beef between the actress and the director of the movie.
David Yates.
Supposedly,
yeah, because he did all.
Oh,
three.
he did those too. Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, so supposedly there was some kind of beef going on between her and either director or the producer or something like that, some higher up in the chain of command. And they were like, oh, yeah? We'll just write you out of the movie. That's why she's only in it for like 1 fucking minute.
Okay.
Because there was some kind of like...
So I guess like Bunty took over her role instead. They just made it her, which felt weird.
Yeah, no, whatever plotline they had for her, they were just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, she's the head of the American Aurors, so like she can't do anything, which was weird. I don't know. It's...
But that's why.
Yeah, well, the movies are just not... interesting. They stopped trying to tell their own story. It feels like they're just trying to get from point A to point B instead of like the journey from those. It just feels like they're trying to get to them.
Yeah, I think the problem is definitely
and now they're
that.
done. You can't even. They wanted 2 more movies and they didn't get them.
They wanted to do 5, but I think also the problem is like
J.K. Rowling can't write a script.
There's no. They don't do anything to make you care about the characters either. So even if there was like a good engaging plot, all the characters are literally nothing.
Yeah, and
so why do I care?
Yeah, and I don't know. It's also because in the second movie you see Nicholas Flamel, and you now see his existence, and I'm like, I felt bad for Nicholas Flamel when Harry destroys the Sorcerer's Stone.
Yeah,
or the Philosopher's Stone, because. He's like, is your friend going to be okay? He's like, he's got some stuff to do to say his goodbyes, but he's lived for 1,000 billion years, so like, whatever. But like, then you see him in Fantastic Beasts 2, and you're like, oh, this dude's living a wretched life. You know what? I no longer feel bad for him. Like, he breaks bones by getting a handshake. You're like...
I have paper skin and glass bones.
It's like...
I break my legs every morning.
It's like, clearly... It was a mercy killing on Harry's end. Harry didn't even know, and he was like, I'm putting this bitch out of his misery.
He took him out like Old Yeller.
Yeah, like, damn, dude. He clearly needed to die. But yeah. It's just like, I don't know. The whole Lestrange plot line is fucking stupid. Like, and the whole thing that Tina's mad at
oh
Newt
my God,
because of a fucking printing mistake. And it's like, come, you couldn't have just messaged the dude and been like, yo, you're getting engaged?
Mike, the entire, like, Lestrange family tree scene, they're all just standing around in, like, hallways and talking at each other. And the first time I saw that, I was like, wait a second. Do we even know these people? Like, should I care about anything that they're saying?
And also then, Jacob goes to that place, and somebody puts a wand on the back of his head, and then he doesn't show up again, even when they go there, until the door to, like, the fucking meeting opens, and he's like, hey, guys, there's a door. And you're like, where the fuck did you come from?
Man's just disappeared.
Yeah, like, I don't know. It's weird. Also, like, if it felt like kind of an out, they were like, oh, the Obliviate only gets rid of happy memories. So
and it's
God. Like, come on, dude.
No, wait, I thought it was, like, only bad memories.
Or bad memories, yeah. And you're like...
Which isn't true.
Yeah.
Why are you lying to me?
Yeah, it just say that he stayed in the rain.
So Hermione's parents forgot her because all of their memories were terrible with her?
Yeah, I don't know.
They were like, oh, thank God, she was fucking insufferable.
But in the book, she puts them back, right?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think I read that, like, because I looked it up because I was like, does she just fucking
Bye.
like that sucks? And
Maybe because
I think I looked it up and it was like, no, in the books she goes
inserts herself back in there.
Yeah, she finds them again and
Yeah.
puts the memories back.
Probably because she's like, if I die,
Literally, I think it said if she died, she didn't want her family to know, and she didn't want to risk the wizarding world being discovered,
Exposed.
because if she was just missing, she knew her parents would not do anything to try to track her down.
right?
Or would stop at nothing to try to track her down,
Right.
including outing the world. So she did it for that, and also for their own safety, because then
Yeah.
they couldn't know anything. So
Right.
she just sent them to
So they
fucking-
wouldn't get tortured
Yeah.
for info or whatever.
So she sent them to Australia.
Bye, guys.
But still, that's a brutal scene.
Yeah.
She like walks down and just obliviates her parents, and all the pictures go out,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that's fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ. Also, they cut out the scene where Dudley is like,
Does one nice thing for Harry.
where he's like, I'm just a waste of space, aren't I, Vernon? And he
Mhm.
walks over and he's like, I don't think you're a waste of space.
But they actually filmed that scene, right?
Yeah, they did.
That's
they
what I
just didn't-
thought.
They just didn't put it in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They really should have.
But I think
Worth it.
But I think also in the movies, Dudley has like a super reduced role,
Oh yeah,
so I can see why they cut it.
but it's still, I don't know. It's a big moment.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to show that Dudley isn't totally a lost cause,
Yeah.
even though his parents are.
Yo.
Fuck those people. And I learned later, I learned during these movies that they consistently gave Harry back to them because conveniently, and this feels like, I don't know if this was in the book or it feels like a thing that J.K. Rowling put out later, that the love blood thing that protects Harry is extended via family, and so he's going to her because it also protects him being near his mom's sister.
That is factual.
Okay,
yeah.
that was in the books at some point?
It's
Okay.
because I don't know that it's exactly like the love blood situation, but because like Lily's protection spell also extends to her sister.
Yeah, so him being near her
Not
is what
because
protects
she's
him.
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But so he had to go back every time so that
Right.
he would be protected.
Right.
Because he's in the presence of his mom's sister.
Right.
Okay. So that's in the books, not like a later thing.
Yeah, that's
All
in
right.
the books.
Because it feels like, bro, why are you giving this kid to these fucking assholes? Like, they are the worst people.
Yeah.
That man lived a shitty life for so long.
Yeah.
I also really like the scene in Deathly Hallows Part 1 where everybody turns into Harry.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
And like it's just Daniel Radcliffe. In,
Have you
like,
seen
a
like the
women's clothes
behind
and
the
stuff.
scenes for that?
Yeah, he said he enjoyed it too. He was
Yeah,
it's
he was like,
kinda
I was just putting on like 20 different outfits.
yeah, and it's really funny, just like when
Ew,
Fleur,
don't look at me, I'm hideous.
yeah, she's taking off her. And it was like, it's funny too, because like you would still think that the girls would not want to like change, like it feel weird to take off your bra though. Still,
Yeah.
And also, I was thinking about this. Polyjuice potion changes everything about you into the person, which means you also change the women are now men.
Right.
So like immediately they know what Harry's packing. And that's got to be pretty unfortunate.
But what if
Or
what,
weird.
what if he's got a what if he's hanging Schmeat?
Rephrase. It's got to be weird.
Yeah.
Because also you've been a girl your whole life. All of a sudden now you have fucking Schmeat.
Yo, if that was me, I would be helicoptering it everywhere.
Like and you turn into a girl and all of a sudden now you're like does it work? Like how does the spell work? Like,
You know, I think because these books are targeted for children, J.K. Rowling did not think about that. But I am confident.
she probably answered it somewhere on a forum somewhere.
I am confident if you go onto like AO3 or fanfic.net,
Oh, I mean, yeah,
you
sure.
will get an answer.
Sure, but I'm sure also J.K. Rowling would probably say something because she's answered stupid fucking questions before too.
She has, but she's also like,
Not a turf.
well, not even that. She's just weirdly like very censored.
But like she's talked about like how the fucking plumbing situation in the wizard world works.
Yeah, because that's something stupid. Who cares about
It's
that?
just weird about talking about like, oh yeah, no, all wizards like fucking magic away their shit. She's like talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know. So it seems. Anyway, but then maybe you just you've been married for a while. You want to spice things up. You take polyjuice
God, do you
potions of
think
each
that would be
other.
weird?
Swap into each other, and
That would be weird.
you never know how long it lasts though. So you got to be really careful
Oh my
about
god,
it.
could you fucking imagine? Yikes.
Yeah. I'm sure some people have probably done it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Let's be honest. If it exists, people have done it.
I'm saying you just hop onto AO3 and you'll find out.
Yeah. Also, I love Luna.
Yeah, she's
I want
great.
to say Luna fucking rocks. And I think it's so fucking funny that apparently Harry's daughter is Lily Luna. And I'm like, you weren't that great of friends. Like,
in the book, I think they have like she has a more reduced role in the movies.
Yeah,
in the book, she helps him with like a lot of stuff, especially in book 5.
yeah, I mean, when he's really struggling, she is there for him. But it just feels odd that he went with Luna as the name. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to edit more.
Oh my god.
So we'll end it there. Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Lasts a while.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about that. And next, I'm gonna watch the Hunger Games movies.
Ooh,
those
good.
4, so I can finally have an opinion
Yeah.
on those and tell you if they're shit or not.
In my humble yet correct opinion, 2 is the best movie, followed by 1. Actually, I think artistically 1 is the best, but in terms of an overall package, 2 is the best.
Okay.
3 is a complete snooze fest that you don't need to watch. And then 4 wraps it up.
Okay. And I think the best director, by the way, for the Harry Potter movies was absolutely
Ting Dare for Prisoner of Azkaban, whose name I don't know.
Yes, Prisoner of Azkaban, the director for that. Yeah. I think he is the best, and I wish he stayed on for more.
Yeah.
He was going to do the second, but he was still in post-production for Prisoner of Azkaban and was like, I got to finish this. So that's why they went with someone else for Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire does do a great job at like showing how awkward kids are when trying to like get a date for shit and like realizing you like girls.
Yeah.
So that's pretty fun.
I also think Goblet of Fire does a good job condensing information because that book is literally so long for no reason.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's a lot of details.
Yeah.
But they did a good job being like, let's just smash it together.
Also, Harry, when he wins,
Key
gives
points.
his money to Fred and George to open up their shop, right? Isn't that like a whole thing? Because they're like, you won the money. You got to take the money. I know your friend died, but like, you got to take it.
So he does win, but I don't think he gives it to them then. Because they open their shop because of Harry, but I don't think that's when he gives it to them at post-win.
Oh, so he gives it to them like when they decide to
fuck
leave
off,
school.
yeah.
Yeah, because they fuck over Umbridge.
Yeah.
Which, good for them, because Umbridge fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Absolute bitch. Great villain. Fucking hate her so much.
She's such a good villain, but oh my god, is she annoying.
Yeah, hate her so much.
I like how you tried to wrap up and then you kept talking.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I know. Director for Prisoner of Azkaban, I would have loved for him to keep directing all those movies. He was great. Anyway, thanks for watching. You have 2 weeks to watch One Piece episodes up to episode 44. Watch episode 44. So yeah, 2 weeks to watch that. And then don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, follow, check out Cat the Moodstar on Twitch. And we will see you guys next week for whatever it is we talk about. It won't be for Anime Club, but for the next few, for next week, and then a bunch of weeks after Anime Club, Kat's not going to be in the episodes because she's on vacation.
Yeah.
So we have to move the episodes around, but so that's why Kat's just not going to be around for a hot minute. She's going to be in fucking Japan being unfair for going without us. Fucking bitch. Rude of her.
Oh my goodness.
We were making that joke last week.
How dare she go with her family?
How dare she, dude? Not take us?
Yeah, come on now.
Anyway, well, see you guys next week for whatever it is we talk about.
Bye.
Bye.